Okay, let's have fresh recording and then. Yeah, I think you can see my screen right. We did started list yesterday and we were working on examples of list. And I believe almost all these videos are uploaded right now into the YouTube. So if you need any assistance, please help yourself. So now after that, today we are going to talk about a bit more into the list thing, like understanding more about this list data structure. So yesterday we had just discussed about what is a list, the characteristics of list, and then applying length, and then this happened anyhow. We talk more about it in today's session. Then all this reading values from a list like indexing and iterating, all that we did discuss in yesterday's session. So we talk more about it today. So this is about list we did discuss, and then key features we already discussed. It's ordered collection of list, like as it is indexed, always order is preserved. Mutable, we can modify a list, and then heterogeneous can store mixed data types, indexable, access items by position because they do have indexing, like positive and negative indexing. That too we discussed in yesterday's session. Okay, but we'll discuss more about it, the index part and slicing and everything in today's session. Okay. So then after that, creating lists. We can create lists with this square. This is brackets with this brackets, which creates an empty list. And if you want, we can pass values into that brackets, and that becomes a list with values. And there is another way of creating. We can call this as list constructor or list method. We can apply this as well. We will work on this as well. I'll show you how to work with list constructor as well. And apart from that, so what else we did discuss? Basic list operations. So so this is something we know about how to access an element from an index of a list. And also we know how to apply length on a list. And this is just a simple concatenation. These two things, if you see here, list plus, suppose you have, let me just apply this. So what is that? Concatenation of a list. Okay, let me just add it. So we can also concatenate a list to another list by using this, just applying plus by using this operator plus. You can have a list, right? We have list 2 here, list 2 plus. Okay. You can just add some items on flight, something like 10, 20, 30. You can just add it like this. And if you want, you can assign it to another list, something saying list 3 equal to list 2 plus something. So this is how you can concatenate a list by applying plus. What this will do? This will add this, whatever the list we are concatenating, to the existing list. So now you print it, okay? If you want, you can apply format string. So the list is, the new list is, okay, you can simply say, okay, list 3. Right click and run this. Now you can see that list got concatenated. So this is one of the easiest way of combining two lists, applying just plus between lists. Okay, next after that, asterisk. You know about this operator, right? It gives occurrences of same list. Okay, let us do that now. Let us take a small list. Okay, something like value list equal to, I just take 2 or 3 values inside this, 1, 2. Okay, now you apply this. Okay, otherwise I'll do one thing. I'll just say it as LST itself as in that example. Now if you see this, print of LST into 2 means it gives you same occurrences of that list LST for 2 times. When I say LST into 2, it repeats that list for twice and add those elements. I mean, multiple occurrences of same list. Okay, we'll see the output. Better observe the output. You get that. You can see here. When you say into 2, it created same copy of values for 2 times. You can see first already we have one copy. When you say into 2, it created another copy. Suppose I create 5. You can see same copy of elements. It repeats for 5 times and adds those values to existing list. I mean, you try to merge all these values. You have to assign this result to some other variable. That is important. So now if you run this, see here, same values are repeated for 5 times, including the original list. So you can see that this is one copy, second copy, third copy, fourth copy, fifth copy. This is how asterisk is helpful. It helps us to create multiple occurrences of same copy of existing values. Okay, it might be single or it might be, we can apply this on string, we can apply this on, I mean, this list. For this kind of repeated addition of some new or repeated addition of new values or create a new list from existing list or string or anything and create multiple occurrences of same copies, we should apply this asterisk. Okay. So that is the idea of asterisk. So another example. I hope you got clarity on this. Understood, right? So any doubts, you can interrupt me. You can ask me anytime. But this is what the asterisk is. Okay. It creates a repeated copies of existing list or string or anything. Okay. Next after that, slicing. This is very important part in Python. Slicing means if you want to apply, right, split and extract a substring from a, sorry, sublist from a list, substring from a string. Yes, you can apply slicing even on strings. Okay, same thing can be applied on list as well. So now let us see the syntax. This is the syntax of a slice. You can see here we have start and end and step. Of course, step is optional. If you want, you can add it or else you can skip it. But start and end is very important. Okay. Now you can take any example for slicing. Suppose I take this. Okay. Or else I create my own list for slicing. Okay. So integer list equal to, I'm just taking elements 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'm having some, again 1, 2, 3, 4. I also have some kind of string values. Okay. ABC, XYZ. Okay. And then something like this. Okay. Let's create a simple list like this. Now, how do I apply slicing? It's a simple phenomenon. So now let's take, now I want to extract this first 4 elements. Then we are applying a slicing here. Slicing means extracting a piece of some collection. It might be string or it might be list or it might be tuple or it might be anything. Okay. So now let's run this now. Let's test it now. So here, if you see, if you want, you can assign those slices to some local references, local variables. We don't have a problem, but you can see here, you can say integer list of, I want first 4 elements. You can start with 0 and then end with 4. It takes up to 3. If you don't want this for the, you can exclude the start index because by default it starts with 0. So this gives you what? A list from 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And end list is excluded. So, I mean, end this one. The end value is excluded. Just keep that in mind. It's not inclusive, it's exclusive. So we have to declare the start index and end index of some slice which is present in a collection or a data structure. Now run this now. Now you can see we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose I need this all this string into one list. Right. I want to separate or slice this into a separate list. What should I do now? Again, I have to do this now, print. But the problem is I don't know. So I assume that this is a huge list and I don't know the index of ABC. How do I dynamically get the index of ABC? You remember, right? There is a method index or find. We can use that method and try to find the index of this. So first, simplest. So integer list dot. Okay. So I'm just showing you how to dynamically find the index. And then from there, how do you extract a piece of data from that particular data structure? Here you can say integer list dot. You can see here index is there and find is not there. We have only, this is the intelligence. When you say dot on that list collection, you can see all different methods available in that API. Append, count, pop. We are going to work on all these methods. But now I want to apply index. Now I am passing ABC to this. And by default, when you apply, suppose if I have multiple occurrences of ABC, not just one time, because list can have duplicates, this ABC can occur for multiple times. When I say index of ABC, by default, this returns the first occurrence of that ABC, not any other occurrence. Default, it returns first occurrence of ABC. Are you following, friends? Following now? So that is the idea. Clear? So next after that. So you can just print it and see the output. Print integer list of ABC, run this now. You can see it's 8. So the index of ABC is 8, and from there onwards, all values are string type. So now I apply a slicing C here. Simply print. So even though I put integer list, it has so different types of data. So don't worry about that. Integer list of 8 colon. I'm just leaving the end, I mean the start end index as blank. So that from 8th index onwards, it will try to slice remaining all into this. Okay. Means we are saying that till the end of the list, you apply slicing. That is the meaning of that. Okay. Let's run this now. You can see that I am able to slice all that string elements into a slice here. You can see here. So this is how you apply slicing on a list or any collection, because we did apply slicing even in string topic. We had discussed too many examples in string as well. Okay, this is the simple idea. Only thing is we also understood like how to dynamically fetch index and apply slicing from whichever position you want. Okay, suppose assume that, let me just show you. Otherwise, let's leave that aside. Instead of that, I have a data list like this. Data list equal to, you can assign, you can use the same thing. Okay. Another scenario, small scenario for you. You have in the middle, you have some elements. Okay. And then you have some other elements here, 10, 20, 30 like this. Now the question is, I want to get a slice of these strings. I want to extract this particular range of strings from this list. So the start is this one, end is this one. Now how you are going to apply slicing on this? And you have to do it dynamically. You don't count that 0, 1, 2, something like that. So the simple process is again same apply same index method. First get the index of ABC and then get the index of AAA and apply a slice between start and index of these two positions. I mean these two values. That gives you slice of all strings present in the data list. Okay, how do you do that? Simple, right? So you can just take like this print. First get the index of ABC. But this time the list changed here. You say data list, okay? And then after that, and one important thing is you need to assign that index. So you can say index 1 equal to what you can add it, complete one. Data list dot index. Next, copy this, add this again. I'm just showing you how to play around this because these scenarios are important when you do any development, okay? AAA. And this gives you start index and end index dynamically. So you don't need to rely on counting that index of each value. You don't need that. You got it right. So just now print. Now you can get this slice. You can say data list of index 1 colon. Here you see I'm saying index 1 plus index 2 plus 1. Why plus 1? If AAA is in this index 2, right? We have to mention the end index in the slice in this method as +1 so that it will apply slicing till that index 2 plus till index 2. That's all. Yeah. Not and index 2 plus 1 is exclusive. Suppose let me run this. I'll explain that. You can see that. So now we are able to fetch that. That is fine. Let me just print x1 index 2. Now you see this now. If you see this, friends, how do you apply this slicing here? Always slicing should be, it should start, we should provide start index and index that end index +1 because you know, right? This is exclusive, not inclusive. So that's why we have to add an +1 to that end index. We already discussed that and this is important. Okay. Now if you run this now, let's run this now. Now you can see here the start index is 4, end index is 6. So 6 plus 1, we are trying to apply this slicing from 6 to, 4 to 7. So that it gets a slice from 4 to 6, that 7 is exclusive. It doesn't include that. It is excluded. Suppose I just start with index 2 itself. My start index is index 1, end index is index 2. If I run it now, now you can see that you missed this last value. Why? Because it will iterate this slicing till 5, not till 6. That 6, whatever you specify here, that is excluded. It doesn't consider that index. So that's why you have to put +1 always. So how this slicing works, it always considers start index, but end index it excludes that whatever you specify here. So that if you want to make till this AAA, you have to add +1 to that. Okay, that's why I just added index +2. Now this time it gives you expected output. You can see that. So this is how you can apply slicing, friends. Another important scenario. So you can also test this. Let me just share this methods with you. Are you following? Next after that. So once this is done, slicing is done, and then I also thought of one small scenario so that it helps you while doing development. So slicing clear for everyone? How to apply slicing and how to use start index, end index, what is included, what is excluded, and then what is the significance of end index, like how to specify the end index, right? What if if you just exactly specify where you should end with that slice, then you are going to lose a value. So add +1 to the that end index +1 if you want to get if you want to apply slicing properly. So this is all about this one. Next one after that. So now, so we did with slicing. Let's move to the next step. Checking mutability. It's a simple example. Okay, mutability means trying to modify a list and see that we tested, I believe. This is a simple list, fruits list. Now I'm just trying to change something like fruits. You can just take out fruits of 0. If not 0, anything in that list you try to modify. Instead of apple, I put here some apple, banana, cherry. Okay,
Orange.
yeah,
Orange.
yeah, I'm giving it. Even same thing strike my mind. Thanks. Who is that Simhana?
Ah, yes, yes.
Oh, great Simha. So print. Now you can see, try to print it. That data will be all updated. Okay, for UITS. Okay, now this is an item assignment. Obviously, this list is mutable, right? So as it is mutable, you can modify any value inside a list. We don't have a problem with that. Right click on this now. Now you can see that instead of apple, we have orange here. On Simha's request, we added orange. So that is the idea. Next after that. So that's about updating a list. Next after that, adding elements. This is very important scenario. I thought of something while explaining to you guys this slicing thing to this. I mean, okay, when I remember, I'll try to bring back that. So we have to note that whenever something strikes, adding elements to a list. And we can do that with these three methods: add method, insert method, and extend method. And these are very much important. You play with these methods a lot when you do development on lists here. Okay. How do you add append? If you want when to use append, most of the times in development we prefer append than insert. Okay, and performance wise as well, append is best choice than insert. Okay, what is this append? As adds item to the end. Okay, suppose you just see an example here. We'll continue with this. I want to add a fruit actually. So now I want to add a fruits to the fruits dot. You can see here append. I'm just taking, already we replaced the apple. Now I am adding that apple back to the fruits. Now after that, just print that selection. Now if you see that a new list is created with apple added to that list. And that apple is added at the end of the list. That's what append does. Append always adds elements at the end. You got that? So that is the idea. Yeah. The example what I am trying to think is iterating a list based on the type actually. So I have a small scenario for you. Append is clear, right? Before I jump to the another example, I'll do one thing. I'll just keep it as to do item at the end of today's session. Okay. What is that to do item? This is very important use case which is needed when you work on any real time data. So iterating a list based on types. Okay. Suppose the program is, suppose you have list of values, something like this, list of data. Otherwise, we have integers and then you have string. Okay, ABC, comma XYZ. Okay. You can apply this on a larger data as well once you understand this scenario, okay? And then some BTC, you just take like this. And you also can take a few floating point as well, 12.35, 8.36, 2.2, like this. Okay. So now close this. This example serves for any larger data as well. You can expand this scenario. Now I need to, you should create three lists that you can apply, do that with one approach is slicing. Okay. So all integers into one list. Okay. One list. This is one thing. And another one, and this another slice. You can also try this for practice. All strings into one list. Okay. All strings into one list. All integers into one list. Okay. So you can try this with the slicing. This is one scenario. Now second scenario, and also don't think that data will be like this. Suppose I put it more this thing, as we have all float in one place, all strings in one place. Applying slicing is much more easier. Suppose I have a data list like this or a data set like this. Now what you have to do? So you have to apply slice and bring it. That is, slice is possible when you have a bit of more organized data like this. All integers at one place, all strings at one place, all decimals at one place. Then slicing becomes easier. Okay, you can apply this for now. Let us take another scenario. Suppose I have a list which is not that organized. So I have strings, I mean, shattered here and there. Okay. They are not stored at a single place. They are just distributed in different positions. Okay. You can see that it's distributed. Similarly, decimals are also distributed in different places. Just let me show you. Now, what I need is you have to create a list. Of course, this time slicing may not work here. Okay. Of course, you can try it, but it's a bit difficult. There is other way for this. Okay, copy this part. So remove slicing. Now I need the requirement is this. All I need all integers into one list, all strings into one list, all integers into one list. This is the requirement. So you can apply whatever you want. It's not, and here the condition is you don't need to apply slicing. Here, okay, you can choose slicing that fits the requirement. But for this requirement, slicing is a bad choice. Then what is the choice for scenario 2 or case 2? You have to choose a programmatic approach. Now we apply that. This is the time to apply because we are going to check their identity. If a value is integer, what is that you should do? If integer, add it to the integer list. If string, add it to the string list. If decimal, add it to the decimal list. Likewise, you have to prepare three different lists. Okay. So here, I think we have to change it here. All decimals. All decimals. See, whatever I am trying to explain for you, definitely helpful to you, friends. Okay. So do you want to try both or shall we go with the second case? Should I show you both examples or solve both examples, or shall we go with scenario 2? What shall we do? I'll go as per your this thing. Which one shall we try? Shall we try both? So this anyhow slicing you can easily apply. Okay. So because we have a different list of integers and then strings and then decimals, you give a try. I'll apply this. Okay. So now let's take this list. Okay. Take this, come here to the code. Now add this. As we are talking about append method, so this is the very useful example or scenario to talk about it. Okay. So also create a new file instead of putting everything into that listed amount. apply. What is that? List addition. Okay. Mm. Yeah. So now let's take this example. Okay. What's that we are doing here? We are applying append, also validating list and validating list and creating sublist. That is what we are doing here. The exact scenario is creating sublist. So let's try that now. And here we are using append. The method we choose here is append. Just now you know what is method we should. We just discussed about append method. Just now how to add elements to a list as a last element to that list. Okay. So now let's try that example now. Where is that here? List add methods. Okay. So now just put comma here. So now you can test a small thing. How can I split all this into three different lists? An integer list, first one, int underscore list. Okay. We know how to create a list, right? First you create all empty lists. Whenever you are doing this kind of scenario, I mean, you are trying to implement these kind of scenarios. Creating an empty list is always a best choice. Just create an empty list. That would be helpful. Okay. Create an empty list. Similarly, a string list. Okay. To add all strings into string list, and then a float list to add all the decimals into this float list. Likewise, prepare three empty lists like this. One for adding all integers, one for adding all strings, one for adding all decimals. Now iterate this list. So what is that you should do? Iterate this list. How do you iterate? Now iterating list and creating empty lists here. The purpose of empty list is to store all that values. Okay. I want to create sublists of integers and strings and decimals. Okay. So these are sublists. Empty lists, actually, you can simply say empty lists. This is how you have to add comments when you work in development. Okay. And iterating list. How do you iterate it? For value in list one colon. So print list one. I'm just printing and showing you how this iteration is working. Okay. Let me right click and run this now. And you can see that I am printing list one. I have to print value. If you want to print each value from the list, don't print list one. Print value, right click, run this now. Now you can see all that elements in that list is printed value by value. But this is not my requirement. My requirement is I have to put all integers into bucket in this bucket, all strings into this bucket, and all floats into this bucket. I created three buckets now for each type of data. Then how do I do this? A very simple validation. While iterating every time, you know, right? How to? I have a simple question for all of you. Maybe please answer in the chat box. How to check data type of some element? What is the method we apply? Do you remember that? I'm bringing that into use this time so that you get an idea. What is the method that is used to check type of a value? Someone please answer. You can answer in the chat, or you can also tell me over this thing unmuting. Right? So the method is type method. Now I am going to apply type and validate each element in this list while iterating. So you can see here if type of value. This gives me what is that? What type of value is this elements inside this list? Suppose I am iterating one. So first four times it gives me integer. So but I don't know. Suppose my list is not organized like this even. So only the starting element is integer, and then I got string again. Again I got integers. Again I got some decimal. So this is very much unorganized, not organized list. So now I have to create sublist out of that. Then the best choice is doing data validation. How do you do this? These are all very important for development, friends. So you have to say type of value equal to, right? We have int directly. So if type of that value is int, then finally this is very simple. What is that I should do? Then you have to add all those values to the int list, append them to int list. How do I do that? Simply just come here, int list dot. Just now we discussed append method. What is the purpose of append method? To add element to a list. So do that now. So here, just add that value. Now I am able to create an integer bucket out of this list one, right? By adding a simple validation. Similarly, I have to do two more validations. I use elif here. You can see, right? I'm using different scenarios now, what we discussed so far. This program covers too many fundamentals. It covers the iteration part, the validations, the conditions, everything. Okay. And also using list efficiently for dividing or breaking these values into buckets according to type. Okay. Elif, we can say type of value. Okay. Type of value equal to what? If it is, you can just say str. Then which bucket I can choose? If it is str, string list dot append of that value. And in this data structure, we just have three different types. Either it is int or string. And by default, the remaining will be decimal. Again, you don't need to validate it. If you need, you can validate. It's up to you. Okay. So what I am doing now, else, the last one, what is that I do? Float list dot append. Okay. Append of value. But and the leftover value will be float, and that will be appended to float list if at all, if it is coming to this level. So this is overall idea of what is that simple scenario. What is that you are doing here? How to create empty lists and then put them to use of creating bucketed
Uh,
data.
hear me?
Sir, Simon sir, please mute. Okay, loud run this. Not ID. We need type method. Somebody typed ID. Let's run this, friends, and do one thing. Print it. Now print. Use a string. The int list is okay. And then here, what is that you have to do? Int underscore list. Similarly, try to create two more lists. Okay. So string list is, and then third one. What is third one? Float list. And just change that name of those parameters, okay, our values, string list, and finally this is float list. Okay, so you can just also apply hyphen, whatever we think is best fit here. And now you can run this. Now let's execute this. Now you can see perfect, right? See there, we created sublist where the data is split into buckets. See this now by applying a programmatic scenario. Is this clear for all of you, friends? Is this clear? Now this program helps you to understand multiple things. So what is that? How to have a heterogeneous list, and then how can we split that into multiple buckets based on data? How do we apply a simple validation to just split that data into buckets? And here also we are doing multiple things. Again, we are seeing how to iterate a list and then how to apply a condition check on different types of data and put that data into buckets. So this empty list, I'm calling them as buckets. Okay. And finally, just displaying and showing to you. Interesting, right? So this is the example what I thought I to discuss or share with you. And this is something really needed when you work in development. Okay. So I just shared that code with you, friends. Next one after that. So once this is done, let me jump to the next topic. What is that? I was talking about methods of list. Append is clear for all of you, right? How to add. And you can see here now, append is very much used method. We use this in number of development exercises. Okay.
Hello, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Here,
No, yes, yes, please. No problem.
as it is heterogeneous, right? Why do we mention here integer only if type value equal to very much equal to int only? Why do we need to mention? It's a heterogeneous, right?
Correct. Because it is heterogeneous, we are applying it. Because we don't have same type of data, we have different type of data. The requirement is to split into different buckets based on the type. You understand that, Panda?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
In such case, how do you do that? You have to check if it is there. Because it is heterogeneous, we should apply this validation. If it is int or if it is string or if it is something else, based on that, you do that check and then add the data into that bucket. You understand, Panda? I hope it's Panda who asked me, right?
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So that's how. Because it is heterogeneous, we need it, Panda. Else we don't need. If it is homogeneous, why this check is needed? Not needed, right?
Okay. Got it. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Understood, no?
As per our need, we have to mention there at least.
Exactly. And this is something really important. I generally keep using such scenarios in my automations. So I shared one simple scenario. The one I generally implement will be larger one. Whenever I implement automation, at least there will be 2 to 300 lines of codes minimum. Okay. But this is a an automation with just simple how many lines here? Just 17 lines of code. That too, we don't create like this. Okay. Generally, this kind of things has to go into functions, not just like this. Okay. A simple thing. Adding functions is always best thing. I'll bring back again all that and refine this code into functions that gives you more understanding. Is that clear now? Okay. Next
Yes.
up.
Sir.
Okay. Anyhow, thanks for asking question because I generally feel more happy if you ask questions. Okay. Next one, insert. Understanding insert method. Right. All of you are good with append, right? Let's see how insert works. Let me just get into that. So here already we have append. Why again insert? Because insert is something which is used to insert an element at a given position. So what this does is it clearly saying it inserts element or value at a given position. Okay, position. So this is for dynamic insertion. We can say that this is for dynamic. You can choose a position and you can insert wherever you want into that position. So that is how this is helpful. The different append is something which by default always adds element as a last element in a data structure, especially list. But insert is not like that. You can choose where you want to insert that element. Let us see an example. Okay, you can take that list one as an example. Suppose insert of, you can see the syntax. What is the syntax? Index and then that object. First, always you have to choose where you want to insert that value. Suppose this is my list. Where do I want to insert my value as the first element or somewhere in the second index or third index? I want to insert after ABC, right? I can just understand ABC is the second element which is in first index. So I want to insert element after ABC. Then what is that I do? 2 comma I put 100 or some thousand here. So here you can see that you can choose where do you want to insert that element, that position, and then you can just add that object or value, whichever you want to insert. Now print that list. Print list one. Okay. And if you want, you can print it before as well, before adding this insertion. Okay. So you can see that 100,000 is added after this ABC. Okay, and then I have this two for. So why it is added for twice? Because we declared it for two times. Okay, remove that now. Now you can see that. Sorry, I think it ran into debugger. You can see that. So this 1,000 is added at a position where I specified. Now that is the advantage. We can choose a custom position and insert that. I just mentioned dynamic. It's not dynamic. A dynamic means automatically adding something somewhere. But that is not the scenario with the insert. Insert is something which is used to choose a custom position and insert a value into that position. You got it right? So that is the idea. Okay. So I hope you got difference between append and insert. Append always add elements at the end of that list. Insert is used to insert element at a chosen index or a position. Okay. Next after that, let's get into the extend. Extend is a very simple one. You take a sub list, okay, some list to equal to take some element, something like some 10, 20, take few elements just for testing only, right? And now this is also kind of adding elements to your list. How you do that? You can see that. So list 3 equal to list 2 dot or list 1 dot append of list 2. Now what happens here? It's more like applying a merge method, right? We are merging two lists. We are merging list 2 to list 1, not the opposite. When I say list 1 dot append, all elements of list 2 are merged into list 1 and that is assigned to list 3. So you just print it, copy this and then just change that variable name. Then run it now, right click run this. Now you can see that I didn't get anything there. Okay, I got it now. It is, I think, in that operation is in memory operation. I don't need to assign to any variable. So my bad. It is just directly doing change on that list here, which is a internal change. Sorry, friends. So you don't need to assign it to any other variable. What you can do, just print it, friends. Just print it. Okay. Right click, run this down. Now you can see all that values of list 2, 10, 20 that you can see here are merged into list 1. But of course, you can see that. Okay, I did apply append. Okay, this is fine. Okay. This is another scenario. With append, we can add any type of data to a list. But here, if you see that it is added as a separate item. Because for append method, it cannot merge that data completely into this parent list. So this is how append works. Another example. But again, you might ask a question. What is that? Manoram, we don't want it as a separate list like this, but we want to merge everything into this list as if they belongs to this list itself. But the limitation of append is with append, we can pass only one value as a parameter. Okay. So now, and by default, it try to add a list or it try to add a tuple or dictionary, everything like this as a separate object into that collection, whatever collection you choose. Generally, list here. Generally, list is present in append. Append is present inside list collection. So for that, if you want to completely merge data, another scenario is what is that? I mean, merge without trace of that object. Right here, it is clearly showing that list. There is a separate object added to this list with append. But I don't want that. So then in such case, what is that I do? I use extend. You got difference, right? Append also can be used not just adding a simple this primitive data like int, float, or double, all that or strings. It can also be used to add any kind of collection data. But it can add only one value. That's it. all that as a single entity. That's it. Now I apply extend here to the same example. I take it as list 3. Okay. And then let's append it to list 1. Now extend of list 1 dot extend of list 3. Now you can simply what you can do, you can just print list 1. This time if you run, you can see that that list 3 is just merged into this list 1, not as a separate object, but as items inside that list itself. Okay, you can see that. So we don't see any list anymore here when I try apply extend method. So finally, this should give you a clear idea. Extend is used for merging data into a list. Means what is that? It applies a flattening here. So there is something called flattening. It will flatten that existing list 3, and then add each element to the parent list. This is the master list. And after applying flattening in sense, so you can see that here. It's not adding this list 3 as a separate one, but all that elements are directly added to that master list which you are trying to extend. When I say list 1, what's happening, you can see that here. So that is difference between applying append and adding a list to another list, and applying extend and adding a list to another list. What is the difference here? If it is append, it just adds that object as is to that to whichever the list you are adding this sublist. Whereas extend will flatten that and add each element into uh, that master list. Clear now?
Manohar, you can say last one.
Hmm.
Instead of list 1, you can say list 2. Then it will be clear. Just modify list 2.
See, this is also clear, Simha. Okay. So you can see the output. So if you want, you can test it yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are giving me a suggestion, then you can try it in your machine. If you have a question and if you want to understand something, you ask me a question. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have something that you want to do, just change that and test it in your machine. Small, whatever you are trying to tell me, do it in your machine so that it would be easy for you. For me, I am applying on a master list here and showing different scenarios. You got it? So now you can see that. This is overall idea of what is that different ways of adding data to a list. Okay. Applying add, applying insert, applying what is it? Extend. So let me summarize this. These are really important things. Okay. So what is append? I am again and again repeating same thing again because I want you to be very clear on each method. Append add elements where to a list as
In the end.
very good at the end of list. So that is one thing. Next one after that, insert. What is the purpose of insert? Already we have end, then why again insert? Insert is used to add elements at a custom location or at a chosen location, not by default into some location. Okay. So insert element at a given location. You have to choose this to at what index you should insert that you must specify. So at a given location or index. And third thing, extend. What is extend doing here? Extend is a method used to add elements to a list, but it merges those elements into the existing or a master list. Okay. Merges elements into a list or merges sub list into a main list. Okay. So however you treat it. Okay. Elements into a list. So this is all about different ways of adding data. Now you have a question. So we have this much of data here in this list. Okay. Once after adding append, once after applying this extend, my list has to grow to this level. Now, what is that I want is when you have nested lists like this, you can see having list inside list. Such lists are called nested lists. Now, what is that I want? I want to remove this nested list from this list. Now, I am going for removal operations. So, next topic is what removing data from a collection, especially lists, because we are talking about list topic. Let's do that now. Removing elements. Okay, there are different methods here: remove method, pop method, del method, clear method. So if it is remove method, removes first occurrence of X. If you just you need to say remove of that value, automatically it removes that. Pop means you don't specify anything here for pop. Removes by index. Sorry, we need to mention index for pop. Difference between remove and pop. Here you have to pass object as value. Here you have to pass index as value. Okay. So that's what you have to do. Let's apply that and test it. Okay. So now in this example, you know, right, there is a sub list inside this list. The easiest example is just taking these examples, take some fruits and just apply remove. That's the easiest thing to understand. Okay, let's go with that first. Okay. And then maybe we go to a bigger scale of program. So now removing elements. These are basic operations we need on list here. So now let's apply remove method. What is remove does? As name says. So by looking at the method name, everybody understands what remove does. But the behavior, what is the nature of remove? You have to pass an object as a value which you want to remove. So let's try that now. So fruits dot something like remove. Okay. And then which one you don't like in these fruits? Apple or banana or cherry or again I have banana. I can take it as the orange. Okay. So whichever you don't like it, you remove that. Generally, okay, I'm removing orange because I'm not that comfortable with orange. Okay, I don't like that. It's not like I hate orange, right? You know, right? It got cold. So remove that. Just apply remove fruits dot remove. Choose that object name and pass it to that. And remove works only if that element exists inside that collection. Okay, now print that fruits. So do one thing. Always print it before removing, print it after removing. For easy understanding, we just took a simple example. Now run this. Now you can see that orange is gone just like that. Suppose now again I try to remove it again. Okay. Now we don't have orange, but I am trying to remove an object that don't exist inside a collection. Let's run this now. What happens? Let's see that. You can see here. So let's rerun it again. Okay. So just add a, it's not returning anything. Probably see here. Yeah, we have a value error here. See, that's what I am looking for. So if you try to remove an object that don't exist, then it leads to value error. See that. List dot remove of x, x not in the list. It's clearly saying, why are you doing this operation? That value or object don't exist in that list. And why are you trying to remove? That's what it's saying. It's saying value error. So that is what happens. So what is that value error? When value error, if that value don't exist inside that list. Okay, you got it right. And anyhow, comment this because else we cannot move forward. We will get stuck here if we have that okay risky statement in this code. So I'm just commenting that. Okay, next after that, this is simple idea about ring. All of you are clear. Next pop method. For pop, we don't pass object as a value, but we pass index as a value. So now what is that we do? We just say fruits dot index of Which one you don't like? If I don't like orange, I have to pass fourth index. Okay, that is it. Sorry, 3, right? What is the index of orange? 0, 1, 2, 3. This time I'm counting because my list is small and simple. So I'm passing 3. Suppose in real time, how do you get it dynamically? First, pass this to index method, this value, it returns index that you can pass and get it. Sorry, I applied index, I have to apply pop. Okay, so many things are there in the mind. So please, you have to excuse me for that. So apply fruits.pop and then pass what is that index of something which you want to remove. Okay,
It does not exist.
okay, which does not exist.
Now output.
Yeah. Then let's run it and see. No problem. If it don't exist also, still it's fine. Let's run it now. What happens in this case? If I try to remove an object that don't exist, we got value error. So and it's a good catch. Simha is saying that this don't exist. Still, I am applying a pop on that index. What happens? Let's run it now. Print that this thing there. It should give you index error because you are playing around index, right? So in such case, go and check at the top. Okay. Sometimes errors it might show in the beginning as well. Index error, pop index out of range. So that is very clearly evident that I am choosing a wrong index. What is that I should do? I should
Two.
now
Two.
I should change my index. Choose 2.
Two. Yeah.
When and you have to also understand that the previous operation caused to remove this value. Sometimes this happens in even in development. We easily forget that this is removed and still our mind is again focusing there itself. Then it leads to index error. Of course, while looking at this, we can easily figure it out. Okay, I did remove that, so there is no such index. That's why this error is raised. That makes me understand that okay, I am doing a wrong operation. So immediately what I do, I change this thing, my course of I go for changing that. So now let's run this now. Now you can see we removed cherry. Now this time after removing pop of 2 from second index, what is that anyhow? It removed what? Cherry. So cherry is gone. So which one we removed? Cherry is gone. I'm just saying. So after that, you print it, you can see apple and banana remaining finally. Similar, this is how you can apply pop method. There are two takeaways from this discussion with pop. One, pop is used applied based on index. Second takeaway, if you try to remove or if you try to remove an element from an index that doesn't exist, it leads to index error. That is the second catch. So you have to be careful with the index error. So always for these kind of methods, another important suggestion or tip for this kind of methods is applying exception handling. Here, because we are in learning this thing, I didn't apply that. But in real examples, we have to add exception handling. So you can see that these are the two takeaways with pop. What are takeaways from remove? Two takeaways from remove as well. What is that? Remove. Try to remove a value based on object, not index. Second thing, if that all value don't exist, it leads to value error. That is, those are the two takeaways from remove. And finally, which is best? Remove is best or pop is best? You have to tell me. And final check. What is the final check? Which is best? Should I choose remove or should I choose pop? Right? Generally, these are the two possibilities. So what is the best thing? It depends again. You can choose whatever is needed based on your requirement in that problem. Okay. So you don't need to worry much about that. If you want to go based on removal, right, based on object, if you want to remove something, apply remove. If you want to choose index and remove, apply pop. That should be fine. But remove is the best choice as per my this thing. Okay. And still, if you want to know that, just check in ChatGPT, which is best. Okay. Now, let me get to the next method. So remove is over, pop is over, delete is not something part of this list API or list class. This del is a keyword. It's not a method. So deletes elements or entire list. It is also used to delete an element, or if you want, you can remove entire list with delete keyword. Del is a keyword, friends. It's not a method. And this is not present inside list class like remove and pop or like all other methods we did so far. Like these methods like add. So now how to apply this keyword del? Del keyword. Simple, friends. Del is directly applied on any data or anything, not just only on collections. We can apply it even on variables as well, any basic variables. Okay. So I say some fruits of, you can directly apply like this, fruits of 0 or fruits of 1. When I say that, it removes that particular item, it deletes completely. So now if you just apply fruits, you can see here, it it removes that particular fruit from that fruits list. Okay, let's run this now. The one that is there in the first index is just removed with the del keyword. It's a keyword, it's not a method. Okay, next after that, suppose I can also remove that remaining value. Just I say 0. This is another way of deleting data, removing data from a collection. And these methods like, remove and pop are specific to list. They exist or they are prepared for only list. But del is something which can be applied on any collection. It's a keyword where we can apply anywhere in Python on any data objects, not just only this collections. Okay. And finally, if I say del fruits, I am using this del even to remove that data directly. Suppose before this. Okay. After removing this, here you should see empty list at this stage. Still that list exists, but you don't have values inside that list. But I am deleting even that list also from the memory. So after that, what happens? Let's see this now. When I say delete fruits, so what's going to happen? Let's see that as well. So you get an idea. You can see that you should see an error here at the beginning. See, I did I did say that delete fruits. This will completely wash away this fruits list. You got it right. So now you don't have any fruits list existing in the memory. Then you are trying to print fruits. Where should we get fruits now? Right? You completely cleaned it away. Okay, without a trace of fruits by applying delete command. Then what happens? It leads to name error. Name fruits is not defined. It is saying I don't see any fruits here, right? Where is that fruits? That's what the meaning of this. Why you don't need to right sir, get surprised here, because we did a delete of fruits. That delete will completely remove that. It will wash it away. Then you don't have no trace of fruits in memory, and if you try to print it, it leads to name error. You understand, right? So this is the idea of what is that, friends? Idea of different ways of deleting data. We can delete it with what is that? We understood deleting with remove method. Okay, this is object based removal. You can pass a value and then you can just remove it like that. Okay, so object based, and then we applied another one. What is that? So pop method. Pop is index based removal. So what do you do here? We pass index of an element which you want to remove, and then you just remove it just like that. Okay, that is index based. And last one, what is that? Del is not a method, it's a keyword universally applied wherever you want in Python. It can be used to remove basic variables like, primitive variables like int, float, double, or collections like strings or list or tuple or anything. Even we can remove objects like, the class objects, or we can remove functions from memory. We can delete everything from Python space with the delete keyword. So that powerful is DEL. So now I have a few questions here. What is that? I am going for something which is very important when you are working in a development. What are those questions? Let me just take that here. Okay. So now let me run it now. Among these three methods, which are best? Okay. Which is best? Not which are, which is best. I'm just taking AI assistance now. After doing this much of detailed discussion, okay, you can see here append, you know this adds elements at the end, but total summary. So finally, okay, which is best? It didn't answer, right? No, it didn't answer. Which is best? Give me one answer, okay? So I'm just using a simple prompt. Yesterday I was going through an AI this thing. So use append for regular. Yeah, generally we follow this a lot in development, as I mentioned in the beginning of session. Okay, this is something we use more, friends. Just remember, because the performance wise adding at the end, always we don't have much issues. And we don't need to shuffle that data inside a list, if you ask me why. Once you add an element at the end, no need of internal shifting of data. So that gives you better performance. Extend generally we don't use quite often because it happens only if you want to merge multiple items or a large data set into another data set. Okay. And this you can see here. Insert rarely. This happens very rarely. So this is very important use case. You got it right. Best method here we got finally among all this. What is the best method? Best method is append. So I'm adding this to my this thing. Okay. So anyhow, so where is that buddy? Okay, I can add it later as well, not an issue. So next, finally, again after this, next one among these three, which is best, right? Among remove, pop, and delete. Okay, I want so this gives you clarity, right? Now, which is best? You can see here. Pop. Best method is pop when you want to control plus flexibility. Understood, right? So here is why again you can see that it's giving you a clear analysis. You can do the same when you are free and if you want to understand more of Python programming. So now we understood about adding and removing methods. There are just few more methods we need to understand. Okay. So I think we covered so much during this process. There are so many takeaways from this session. If you ask me, what is that? Starting from understanding this list, applying methods, and we just didn't discuss what just like how to use each method in this session. We had gone deep into that each of that, even starting from slicing onwards. Okay, you can see here. We understood like how to dynamically get the index of some element and apply a slicing intelligently. Right? This is a smart way of doing slicing. Right? Instead of counting each index and then applying start and end indexes, using this index method is the smart choice. Then after that, you can see here that we did in today's session. And second thing, we also understood about these methods. What is that? If you see this, all this. Another important takeaway is understanding this example definitely is very useful to you. What is that? How to have a list and then prepare sublists and how to validate data based on type and then put that data into a buckets here, all different buckets like int list, string list, and float list. And other takeaways is how to play around append and extend and this one. So another one is what is that other one? So remove, sorry, insert. So and we did have a very detailed examples for each of that. And then finally, different ways of removal we have seen and which are the best methods. If it is addition, definitely append is best. If it is removal, definitely which is best, pop is best as per this thing, as per AI. Okay. And you can also give a try on that. I'll put all this into the PPT so that you can have it for your reference as well. It's not just only for me. Okay. So finally, we did complete these things. We did complete even this also. Insert is over. Okay. Index method, even we discussed, right? Count, I should discuss. We did also discuss index. Okay, and count method, we should discuss count. And there are just few more methods which we need to discuss. Almost we covered everything inside list. Okay. So any questions so far, friends, before I move to the next topic? Any questions? No questions? Siman, do you have a question?
No, no.
No questions. Panda, Madhuar, Shivar, Sushmita.
Sir, can you please share this PPT and Notepad plus plus as well? Take this as a reference.
Yeah, yeah. Generally, I just post it in the group, Panda. If you are there, you can easily get it. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
So, yeah.